Now, Frank gave Lenny strict orders to put this tape in, so none of us can put it in except for Lenny. So why don't you get a shot of Lenny putting these in?
Check this.
Okay.
Okay, Frank Sports.
Frank Sports. That's Frank Sports right there in that tape.
It took a long time, because we did around 8 takes of this.
They did 8 takes.
8 takes.
Okay.
Oh, one
Okay.
take Audia, didn't they?
One take Audia. They call him One Take Audia. That's his nickname. He couldn't do it in one take. Also, we have a request for 999, and that's right here is the 999 album, and we're gonna play it, and we're gonna play Homicide for you. If you like Homicide, by 999, we'll play it in just a little while. But that's another album that's gonna come up a few videos after Frank Sports, and maybe another set of commercials too. Go ahead, Frankie. Take it away, baby. Hello and welcome to the new and revised version of Back Porch Video Sports called This Week in Sports. I'm your host, Frank W. Audia. In tonight's show, we'll take a look at the matchups in the NFL on Sunday and also the Monday night matchup between the San Diego Chargers and the LA Raiders. First, let's focus our attention on the Detroit Lions, who lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday 21-17. Gary Danielson got the Lions out on the board to a 14-0 lead as he found wide-out Mark Nichols uncovered, and Nichols gallantly races 77 yards for the score. The Lions, though, after a field goal by Eddie Murray, failed to score the entire second half. The offense behind Danielson very stagnant. Tampa Bay rallied behind quarterback Steve DeBerg, who replaced the incumbent Jack Thompson, who started the first 3 games for the Buccaneers. DeBerg and the Buccaneers rallying to defeat the Lions 21-17. The Lions seem to be playing a very inconsistent brand of football. Their opponent this week, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings coming off a big win over the Atlanta Falcons. Minnesota quarterback Tommy Kramer probably in his best of form. For that reason, I give the edge to the Minnesota Vikings over the hometown Lions on Sunday. Now let's take a look up at other matchups Sunday in the NFL and the matchup Monday night between the San Diego Chargers and the LA Raiders. The Houston Oilers have lost an NFL record 19 straight road games. The Falcons have no pass rush, and Warren Moon, Oilers' new quarterback, who has yet to throw an interception, should be the difference. Oilers should beat the spread and win their first game. The Cincinnati Bengals, 0-3, are favored to destroy the quarterback-less Rams this week as LA quarterback Vince Ferragamo is out. Bengal receiver Chris Collinsworth leads the AFC in receiving with 19 receptions for an average of 17.6 yards per catch. Bengals should cover the spread and win. The New York Jets, who bombed the Bengals 43-23 last week, are led by the unstoppable Freeman McNeil, who leads the AFC in rushing, should turn back the Bills, who miss Joe Cribbs. The Pittsburgh Steelers, leaders in team defense in the AFC, are less one Terry Bradshaw, but have gained one David Woodley, who has completed 62.5% of his passes and thrown 6 touchdowns since acquired in the offseason from the Miami Dolphins. Cleveland, quarterbacked by Paul McDonald, who has been sacked 16 times, will lose their 4th game in as many contests this week. The St. Louis Cardinals feature a high-powered offense led by quarterback Neil Lomax and running back Otis Anderson. The Saints, faced with a quarterback dilemma, need a solid game from either Richard Todd or Kenny Stabler. Nevertheless, the Cardinals, whose team offense is best in the NFC, have the edge. The Philadelphia Eagles, who have given up an average of 284 yards passing per game, face the 49ers, who are less injured quarterback Joe Montana. Backup Matt Cavanaugh, who rallied the 49ers over the Saints last week, will get the nod. Look for the 49ers to run their unbeaten streak to 4-0. Washington Redskins, off to an uncharacteristic 1-2 start, desperately need a victory on Sunday. The Patriots are coming off a 38-23 victory over the Seahawks. The Skins are facing injury problems on D, but should hold down New England. The Bears, who sport the best team defense in the NFC, along with the fine running of Walter Payton, play Seattle, whose defense yielded 28 points to the Patriots last Sunday. The Bears should win. The Colts, off to a 2-1 start, meet a real challenge this week as the unbeaten Miami Dolphins show the Colts the passing game. Dan Marino has completed 70% of his passes and thrown a league-leading 10 touchdowns, guiding the Dolphins to victory. The Dallas Cowboys, quarterbacked by Gary Hogaboom, needed a trick play to beat the Eagles last week and are expected to explode soon. And the Packers, who have scored only 14 points in 2 games, could be the victims. Bad blood has always flown between the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Chiefs' running game is suffering, but Denver's John Elway is learning to read pass coverage better, while Denver's Tim Weiner can hurt you rushing. Edge goes to Denver. The Giants lost for the first time last week and the Buccaneers won. The Buccaneers, though, will be demolished by the Giants, whose Phil Simms has overcome an injury-riddled career to pass for 941 yards so far in this young season. The final and probably best matchup of the week, the San Diego Chargers and the LA Raiders. The Raiders struggling offensively as Jim Plunkett has thrown 5 interceptions, 4 of them coming last week. The Chargers feature quarterback Dan Pouts, who has averaged 320 yards passing per game. I have to give the edge to the Raiders, though, because of their relentless defense. Some final sports notes. The Tigers clinched the American League's Eastern Division Tuesday night with a victory over the Milwaukee Brewers as Willie Hernandez struck out Jim Sundberg for the final outs. The Detroit Tigers will meet the American League's West champion, either the California Angels, the Kansas City Royals, or the Minnesota Twins. Over in the National League, the Cubs haven't clinched yet, but the San Diego Padres did earlier this week. The Detroit Red Wings opened training camp this week and emerged with a positive outlook towards the 84-85 season, which will be underway very shortly. In high school football, Fortson, Etzel Ford, and Dearborn all in action last night and all emerging victorious. St. Alphonsus and Dearborn Divine Child in action this week. Divine Child meeting up with the powerhouse Brother Rice tonight. That game will be cablecast tomorrow on Group W Cable Dearborn, Channel 6 at 12:30. I'm Frank Audia, and that's it for this week's pilot edition of This Week in Sports. This Week's in Sport was brought to you by the Beirut Hilton. When in town, guests of Back Porch Video Sports stay at the Beirut Hilton. And also brought to you by Cafe Gigi's, Warren, just west of Southfield. This Week in Sports, produced by Frank W. Audia, directed by Leonard Russell, and audio graphics by Alan J. Redmer.